Who is the worst character in every Mortal Kombat game? I've played just about every Mortal Kombat game, so maybe I'll probably most likely agree. I know more about the PS2 Mortal Kombat games, though. I don't know any about the new Mortal Kombat games, like, at all. I barely played Mortal Kombat X. Anything after that, it's lost on me. I have no idea what I'm talking about with those. I think 11 and Mortal Kombat 1 come after that. Who's this from? PND K&M. Pound K&M? I don't know. Subscribe. They got a lot of subscribers. Probably well done.
Recently, I made a video going over the strongest character in every Mortal Kombat game.
Was that the N64 version?
Well, after an overwhelming amount of comments on that video asking me to make one about the weakest character in every game, I have decided to do just that. A video more open to discussion, as I think people feel a bit stronger about the weaker characters sometimes. Here are my picks for the worst character in every Mortal Kombat. And before we get started, I'm very happy to say
Cabal used to be my favorite, man. And like every game that he was in. I think he still is in Armageddon, but I'd have to go back and play it.
That this video is sponsored. Thank you so much to Arc System Works for sponsoring this video with their Black Friday sale. Currently, you can purchase a wide variety of Arc System Works games for a generously reduced price.
Okay.
Many of you in the fighting game space will know them for Guilty Gear Strive, which is currently on sale for various platforms, such as the season passes for PlayStation and Xbox.
Yeah, I like alternate places to buy games.
And the Dead Certain in the new site stand out just the system for very time description, and let's get stuck in. Selecting a worst character in the very first Mortal Kombat is actually a bit of a challenge.
Sonya Blade.
Mostly because with a roster this small, everyone can kind of play the game just fine, but there is ultimately a worst in this game, and it does usually tend to be a discussion.
Yeah, it's definitely Sonya Blade.
Of either Scorpion or Raiden.
Oh,
now,
really?
The important ninja.
I liked using Raiden because you could spam the move every time.
Your normals aren't that great compared to most characters, which Scorpion definitely suffers with, and Raiden is a character that, at a higher level, does have some difficulty with things being more unsafe than most. For this video, I have decided to list Raiden as the weakest. His Superman charge may be fast and appear safe to most things, but in certain counter-hit scenarios and depending on your screen position, this move can actually be unsafe on hit sometimes, which limits your combo enders and it makes you worry about cashing out damage. He also struggles with teleport being a huge risk for him, and his crouching buttons, particularly his low kicks, are vulnerable to the jab pressure that this game can often have.
This is probably, out of all of the Mortal Kombat games that I've played a lot, I've played this one the least.
He does have some decent moves still, like his projectile.
And it's been such a long time.
For instance, so it's not a totally helpless situation, but in this game, someone has to be the worst, and Raiden's risk doesn't quite match his reward, especially in the final revision, where many, if not all, of his TOD combos are no longer possible. Mortal Kombat 2's weakest character is one you may already know if you've watched this channel for a long time.
Reptile. Is it Reptile? He's on screen.
I still get people disagreeing with me whenever it's mentioned, but seriously, every MK2 player I have ever spoken to has always said that they believe Reptile to be the worst in the game. And
I remember not liking being Reptile.
Here's why. The biggest problems Reptile has is that he's fairly reactable. Mortal Kombat 2 is a game where less is more at high level, and waiting for things to react to is a common tactic. Reptile's most iconic special move in Force Ball is punishable on reaction with a jump in. It's very slow on startup, and it can be generally hard to hit people with. He has an okay projectile in Acid Spit, his slide is alright, although he's not the only character in this game with a slide, and his invisibility can be a nice gimmick, but compared to the...
He's just a recolor of Scorpion and Sub-Zero. They just had to get a green guy in there, they just needed another one, so they made Reptile. Oh, he's green, he's got to be poison, right?
Tools of the more dangerous characters, combined with his punishable Force Ball, Reptile struggles to make a significant impact in Mortal Kombat.
Damn, I'm wanting to play the original Mortal Kombat games. I've been wanting to so bad. I need the definitive versions of the old games.
Kombat 2. But as always, feel free to disagree. Vanilla Mortal Kombat 3 is mechanically different to
And not Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3?
Ultimate. And
Yeah.
in this game, once again, there are a few contenders for absolute
I wonder what the difference is. Damn it, I'm going to have to play them. I'm going to have to go back and I'm going to have to see and just compare all of them.
worst. However, in my opinion, the character that is among that discussion and is the worst in the game is Striker. I have a few reasons for this, and
Yeah, I don't like his design most of all. That's pretty much all the reason I need to not play as him.
if you disagree, saying that you think Shiva is worse, or maybe someone like Shang or Sector is, that's fair, but hear me out on this one. Striker
Dude, I used to destroy with Shiva.
genuinely has nothing going for him. He has weak damage, slow projectiles, is generally
And he looks like a fat idiot.
small, so run jabs are bad, very one-dimensional specials in general, and here's the biggest problem. His gun special, that at least allowed for big combos and huge damage in Ultimate, isn't present. He didn't actually have that move yet, so what he's left with is beyond a basic moveset, and with nothing to enforce gameplay-wise, forgettable damage, and not really having anything cheap to play with, this character almost doesn't exist.
Yeah, he's basically just an uninteresting non-character.
Now, in Ultimate MK3, this one's a lot easier to discuss. It's Shiva. 100% absolutely, it's Shiva. Not only did Shiva barely benefit from Ultimate's
Oh, wow.
changes, like the combo system or relaunches or whatever, she was actually hurt more by most of them. While other characters may have been fixed or slightly improved, Shiva wasn't. Many of the new characters she struggled with in matchups. Relaunch combos that with Shiva are almost universal. Some combos characters can
Dude, these backgrounds, they're giving me so much nostalgia.
do pretty much only work on Shiva because of her hurtbox. This character struggled in every sense, especially against all of the popular characters. Being locked down in the corner by jabs, relaunched into massive damage, struggling to
Yeah, I probably wouldn't pick Shiva if I had the choice.
get in because of her size. She had some cool stuff, and I think she's fun to play, but so many characters could almost delete her from character select
I'd probably mostly just play as Cabal.
that she was a struggle character almost any time you
I don't know, there's just something about Cabal's design I just really like. He reminds me of a sci-fi character more than any other character.
fought a strong
Even
opponent.
more so the robots. The robots kind of look like, cyber ninjas, because that's what they are. Cabal just looks like some kind of bounty hunter raider guy from Star Wars.
Things are going to get a bit weird in Trilogy because unlike the strongest character, who is absolutely Noob Saibot,
I don't know what Trilogy is like. I'm going to have to play that one. I don't think I've ever actually played Trilogy.
in both major versions, the weakest character in Trilogy depends on N64, or the other version most commonly known for being
Didn't time get messed up in this one?
PlayStation. I consulted BuySpeed's Trilogy list for this one because when it comes to YouTube, he is absolutely my go-to for
Or is that Mortal Kombat 4 I'm thinking of? I don't even know.
competitive Mortal Kombat Trilogy. Check him out. N64 Trilogy has speed listing Sector as the lowest, along with Shang Tsung. However, in the discussion about it, it appears that it's more of a worst by default situation, with N64 Trilogy being described as fairly balanced. It's just that, someone has to be the weakest, and Sector can take some time to set things up. Another thing about being
This might be the one that I end up playing first before I play all the other old ones.
a projectile
I'll probably play this one and then Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. Maybe I'll do it on stream. That'd be fun.
focused character is the sheer amount of teleports that Trilogy has makes it difficult and risky to enforce a ranged game plan, especially N64 Trilogy, where teleport cooldown is almost non-existent, so there's more teleports here than ever. For PlayStation, it's mostly the original MK1 characters ported into Trilogy that appear the lowest. It's original Kano and Raiden. They're almost equally bad here, but let's talk about Raiden. You can apply a lot of this to classic Kano as well. These original MK characters aren't that great. I'm not talking about MK2
So should I just end up playing the N64 version? That's what I'm
or
hearing.
Jax. Those characters are really strong. But the MK1
I think I did play the N64 version when I was a very small child, when my stepdad had an N64. I remember playing Mortal Kombat of a sort that wasn't Mortal Kombat 1 or 2, and I don't think it was 3. It might have been the N64 Mortal Kombat trilogy. I'm not sure, but I remember playing Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask and a few other games on the N64, Star Fox. So it must have been this one that I played.
Characters, which feels weird saying MK1 now, I guess. I think I need a new term here. Are characters that just don't really function or work. Hitboxes are super messed up, their tools aren't very good, they feel really strange to play due to missing animations that other characters have, like a simple run cycle, and their combos are beyond simple. The biggest thing that holds them back is that they are there mostly for almost novelty, but you'd never play them in a competitive sense. They barely work as they're supposed to, and for that reason, they are just not good. As always, the absolute weakest in Mortal Kombat 4 is a contest between a few characters, Quan Chi, Shinnok,
I remember this a little bit. This had crazy different graphics.
Kai. But once again,
they tried to go for that Tekken style 3D graphics.
I have a pretty firm opinion on who the absolute bottom one is in this game, and that does, sadly, go to Kai. You see, in this game, special moves are what separate characters in their viability. And Kai pretty much lacks any kind of significant special to actually help him. He has extremely...
Yeah, he kind of seems like a more lame Liu Kang.
Poor fireballs that almost have a non-existent chance of actually hitting the opponent. They're a cool idea, but their hitboxes are just bad. There's no other way to put it. Combine this with his other significant special move in handstand stance, and while it looks pretty funny, it is super gimmicky, and it won't really hit anyone in a high-level match. His only usable special is the upwards flying punch, but that move alone is not enough to save an entire character. There are words from ancient forum posts about Kai's weapon being pretty good in certain situations, mostly in the corner, but a weapon is so easy to remove against a character in this game that it's unlikely an entire...
I want to play this game just to experience what came after it and like where the new characters from the game. That's really what I'm interested in is when characters are newly introduced into these games that I haven't actually gotten into or played, but I've played the later versions of these games that did have them in it.
A match will see the weapon being used.
Like, the only reason I know about a lot of these characters is from Deception and Armageddon.
Before it's hit out of your hands. Kai made his debut here, but did not make a lasting impact, unlike the other new characters in MK4 that were actually decent. Now, usually I would include MK Gold as the next game, however the bottom tier of that one is unchanged, as the only thing the new characters did to Gold was update the top tiers with pretty much all of the new fighters. The worst characters remained exactly the same, so Kai, unfortunately, stays at the bottom. Deadly Alliance has a very commonly agreed to bottom tier, Cyrax, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Now, this is again a character you may have already known about if you've watched this channel before.
I generally don't play as the Cyber Ninjas anyway.
But here's the issue. He just doesn't do any damage. Deadly Alliance is a game where strong mix-ups, high damage, and useful stance abilities mean a great deal, and Cyrax, for the most part, lacks all of these things. If he ever does have mix-up options, they are single hits and they lead to low damage. His stance abilities are absolutely rubbish. Seriously, he has a backflip and a taunt. Neither of those are good in this game. And finally, his damage is worse than mediocre. Any hit he lands will scale like mad, even the branching combos between stances. It results in damage...
This is one that I really want to get back into, by the way, because I didn't play it much, and I played it after Deception and Armageddon, and I don't think that I beat this one, which was... that was very strange for me, very, like, back in the day when I was playing these games, because I was an achievement hunter, and I was a completionist. Not, what's his name? That got in trouble for the donation scam.
Output that you just don't have to fear as the opponent. And believe it or not, he even
Gerard
has a bomb reset in this game to chain 2 combos together for the price of 1. And he's still barely getting damage that most other characters get by just hitting you 1 time. It's unfortunate because Cyrax aesthetically is incredibly cool in this game, and...
Yeah, and that's another reason why I liked the old Mortal Kombat games. And why I want to check out this game in particular is because the character designs and like the differences between the ones in this one before it and after it.
He's one of the more expensive characters to unlock, requiring the
Also, I just don't know the general story.
hardest to grind currency. But when you finally
These
get
maps
him,
look really cool.
he just wasn't worth the grind. Mortal Kombat Deception is yet
Yeah.
another game with various characters in discussion for absolute weakest. But one name pops up all the time in Deception tier lists, and that is Sindel. Sindel has one major weakness that alone could put her in contest for weakest in the game, and that is by far the worst throw in Deception. When Sindel hits her throw, the opponent can quick rise. Now, other throws can do this, but the
I always thought the way the scream worked was pretty lame.
issue here is that when the opponent quick rises, sometimes
I do like Sindel's design, though. Especially Sindel in the Mortal Kombat movie.
Sindel is still finishing her throw animation and can occasionally be punished on hit for landing her throw. This is a major problem, as throws are core to the meta of MK Deception. This game introduced free throws, as they are now unblockable and can be done meaty after certain moves to guarantee them. And if your throw can leave you unsafe on hit, that is a huge weakness for a character to have, especially with the damage output or various infinites that characters can enforce for hitting you a single time. Couple this with her first hand-to-hand being so bad it's unusable, her other moves in general not gathering major reward due to the abundance of high attacks. She's a pretty forgettable character mechanically, and then you add the
I do really like Lee May. I like Lee May's design. Deception had some pretty good character designs.
safe throw on top of it. This character is unfortunately just not good in MK Deception. Returning to Armageddon for yet another video, as we always must, we have a return
I think Armageddon is my favorite Mortal Kombat game.
appearance. Kai was playable once more, having missed all the games since MK4, but sadly, Kai remains at the very bottom of the tier list. It's really sad because Kai does have a lot of potential as a character, I think, but he just struggles in all of his existing appearances. But anyway, Kai is the worst character in Armageddon because he doesn't have anything to work with. I mean, this character has nothing.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't pick him, even due to his design. He's not a very well-designed character. He's really brown, and I'm not even talking about his skin. Like, he's just a kind of a flat, nothing, uninteresting character. Even compared to Cobra right here. Oh, that's funny. Cobra Kai. And I was going to say this. He looks like Street Fighter also.
Absurdly low damage, incredibly unsafe on almost everything he has, no real mix-up potential, and his specials, oh my word, the specials are so bad once again. Outside of his rising uppercut kick, which can at least do okay damage, his fireballs somehow manage to be even worse in Armageddon. His weapon stance is single hits only, and again, really unsafe.
Dude, Nightwolf, so cool.
Kai is
The
a
way he holds his axes in this game. They're tomahawks, whatever.
character I've covered in the past for this
He's
game,
just really
and there isn't
wide.
much to add from previous discussions. Only that he's really unsafe, does low damage, has no mix-up, and a bunch of unusable special moves. In a game full of god tiers and broken tech, he simply cannot compete. When you look up a tier list for Mortal Kombat
I played the shit out of this one too, and the one after it.
versus DC Universe,
This was a really weird choice of a game, though. Especially it to be like a mainline Mortal Kombat game.
as rare as they can be, truth be told, there are two names that always pop up right at the bottom: Catwoman and Lex Luthor. Guess which character I've seen at the absolute bottom of the most? Lex Luthor
Slade was the one that I used the most in this game.
is so simple in gameplay
Mostly because of Teen Titans.
compared to a roster full of characters that are doing some pretty wild stuff. It's not so different to Armageddon in that respect, because if you have only simple tools in a game with infinites, loops, guaranteed unblockables, combo breaker combos,
I think the fighting worked better in this game, but I think overall Armageddon was just a better game.
weird OTG situations, you're going to struggle. That's just the way it is. And Lex Luthor does struggle. He has standard special moves in some projectiles and a flying kick, some combo strings that can at least hit.
Also, it was really weird that this game was rated T for teen. And it was just kind of an L move. Like, they shouldn't have done that. They should have just straight up made a DC fighting game. Injustice is what that ended up being.
confirm into okay damage, but none of it is really scary. It's all really basic stuff, and the only time Lex Luthor is likely to make a dent in a matchup is if the opponent doesn't know the matchup. He did have some alright combo damage in online play because the online game is mechanically different due to lag, causing things to connect differently than they should. But offline, he is way more limited, and offline is where tier lists are properly made. I actually enjoy using Lex Luthor in this game because he's so easy to learn, but really, he's just Sector at home. He would eventually be much better in the first Injustice. Mortal Kombat 9 has a lot of...
Dude, I think I completed this one. I think I got all the achievements. I don't remember, maybe at least most of them, though.
Low tiers, and they struggle to compete in the meta.
Like the tower in this, the tower challenges. Me and my friend, Carson, we played this for like days trying to complete all the challenges, and then we did.
But one in particular I strongly believe to be the worst is sadly Jade. Jade is a cool character on paper. She has a projectile immune glow, various glaive directions, and the
Yeah, I like Jade, and I like Jade's design.
Enhanced version comes back for pressure. But her overall issue is accessing high damage.
And no, I don't just like all of the ones that are mostly naked. I like a bunch of them, like the chick in the dress with the big hat. Forget what her name was. Ashra, is that her name?
Obtaining pressure that actually works properly, while dealing with the countless, really difficult matchups at the same time. So many of her fast buttons are highs, or they can be poked out of. She has a pretty good fast mid, but this mid won't actually combo into anything for huge damage.
I really want to play this game again.
Her other mids for getting
this could easily be my second favorite. You're not going to top Armageddon for me, though.
Full combos are a lot slower, and they only work for punish situations. If Jade wants to get block pressure from her enhanced glaive toss, she has to spend meter. But due to limited mix-up options, the meter is spent for a simple situation, not a guaranteed thing that you can land huge damage from, unlike what many other characters can do here. But her biggest downfall is matchups, and her matchups are some of the absolute hardest in the game versus many of the popular characters you would often fight in a competitive setting. When you look at the other low tiers, they often at least have something, no matter how weak they are. But it's genuinely hard to think of a single thing Jade has that can actually help her out. Okay, so choosing a worst...
Mortal Kombat X, I mostly played on the phone. I played the phone game a lot. That was like back when phone games were starting to get good for a little while, but it was still not very good because of microtransactions, and it was definitely like a pay-to-win game.
Character in MKX is really hard.
And I'm sure it's still like that.
Almost impossible, especially to get one that everyone would agree with, which I'm not gonna try. I don't think that's happening. But I can look at the individual variations and tell you what I think is at least the most obsolete. And I've said this before, I think that is Warlock Quan Chi. Quan Chi is a really good character, right? But only in Sorcerer and Summoner. Warlock does not exist anymore. The final patch straight up invalidated its use, to the point where if you're using this variation now, you've just got to be extremely attached to it. There's no other reason. Every move you get is not worth it in the final version. The tracking forward 3 barely tracks. All you have to do is slightly walk forward and it misses, leaving you open for punishment. The other attacks only work in combos, realistically, but the combo damage is kind of whatever, and not worth picking this variation just to obtain. And if you set up an enhanced stab for a free mix-up...
I think I beat the story for Mortal Kombat X, and then I just kind of left it.
For example...
I barely remember anything about it.
It's okay, but you can already get a free mix-up from the basic trance. Should you want...
Was this the one that had, like, the children of the main characters of the previous versions? Or was that 11?
To be safe on this mix-up, you have to spend meter on Rune, which is nerfed in the final version. It's not plus anymore, unless you slightly delay it, and if you do, there's a gap. The biggest issue, though, is low scoop. This move used to be really good. It launched on Enhanced, and it gave Quan a true, fast, armored reversal. That was why you picked this variation. The patch that nerfed armored launches, though, gutted this move. It lost its armor completely, leaving the only reversal for Warlock as the EX stab. which does not hit people. The tracking is some of the worst in the game, taking the one reason you'd actually play Warlock and removing it. Some people, maybe a lot of you, may have disagreements here, but to me, this is truly an irrelevant variation in MKX, which, I gotta say, is a shame. I used to love playing this, but not anymore. Mortal Kombat 11 is a strange one. It feels like nobody...
Yeah, I didn't play this one. It felt like right out the gate, they were pushing licensed characters and character packs, all of that. I really don't like that. That wasn't in the previous versions of Mortal Kombat. I just want to go back to that energy. No more character packs, please.
Can actually commonly agree.
I'm cool with expansions, though.
To a single weakest character. Everyone had their own idea who the worst character was, whether it was Rain, Baraka, Frost, or even more. But the most regular appearing bottom tier I could find is Rambo. Now, unlike many of the other games in this video, Rambo isn't even a terrible character in terms of not being able to compete. Because we did see someone like Rothor, for example, take this character to the highest level.
I feel like this is more of a Soul Calibur thing. Like, every fighting game ends up doing this kind of thing, and I just don't like it. I don't like the licensed characters. Keep it in Soul Calibur. Soul Calibur did it. It was alright. It did it really cool a few times. Especially Soul Calibur 4 with the Star Wars stuff. That was pretty cool.
And do extremely well, with other players saying maybe he was underrated. When someone like my good friend Waz was talking about Rambo in a video a long time ago, the weaknesses seem to stem from not having great answers versus breakaway, which was the game's combo breaker mechanic, and not having high damage if you catch somebody in the air, which is quite important in MK11 as airborne mobility, or jumping in general, is a key part of the meta, especially with those high-tier characters. Rambo did have some stuff that worked for him at high level, especially if you had various loadouts for different matchups, but the most common argument I'd always see is that Rambo is just very plain and simple, and when fighting...
don't you gotta pay extra for Rambo?
Top tiers that have all of these incredible...
This is why I don't pay for, like, mini DLC stuff.
Tools, Rambo, although he could win, just had to work a lot harder to get results. Probably the best low-tier character in this video, if I'll be honest. And finally, MK1, where we currently sit. And with the current patch, there are two characters I see appear in the bottom two most regularly from pro players and their tier lists. That is Scorpion and...
I haven't played this one at all. I probably won't play this one for a very long time.
Sub-Zero. Often, players not being able to fully decide who is the absolute weakest. And this is a hard one to pinpoint, because truthfully, the game may even get a patch with the next DLC, and this could totally change. But I think right now...
Yeah, I don't like that shit. I don't like how it's basically like a live service now, and things change in patches.
There is an argument for...
And then, like, 5 years, 10 years down the road, they release another patch, completely changes everything. Just like a random update, because why not? Mix things up a little bit, and then it just completely changes how the game worked, and a lot of things that I love about games end up getting changed.
Scorpion as the weakest character, and I guess...
I like the modability of Fallout 4 and Skyrim.
I'll try to explain why here. Scorpion was pretty good before the patch. His Cyrax synergy was incredible, as it led to high damage and safety on his only usable mid. We even saw MK Javier win one of our own tournaments with this combo. However, the patch nerfing Cyrax the way it did, and the changes to Scorpion's airstrings, made this old style of play no longer work, and it was by far the best cameo to help Scorpion competitively. Whereas the patch didn't really affect Sub-Zero in any way, his cameos were already Lao or Serena, for example, the nerfs didn't change him. The nerfs to cameos did alter Scorpion in a big way, however. Now, to choose a cameo to make Deathspin safer in this patch, you lose important tools elsewhere. If you want more combo damage, you risk making...
Damn, these versions of Scorpion and Rain look really badass, though. I gotta hand it to him.
His mid into Deathspin more unsafe, and many of the cameos you choose with Scorpion now lower your overall health.
Rain is one of my favorite characters in Mortal Kombat, by the way. Mostly because he's purple, and he kind of looks like a samurai.
I still think Scorpion and Sector is a highly underrated combo, and maybe there's just more time needed here. But Scorpion got hit bad in the patch, it seems, and he does struggle a lot more now than he did before. But give it time, because tier lists for this game change almost daily, and who knows where he'll sit in the future. And that's our list for every MK game in its week.
I'll end up playing Mortal Kombat 1 eventually, but it's gonna have to be when I catch it on a deep sale and it's complete.
Character competitively. I would like to extend another massive thank you to Arc System Works for sponsoring this video, and once again, check out their Black...
Yep, I can't wait until I do a full run-through of checking the vibes of these games. I'm not going to beat them or anything, because that would take up way too much time. I'd get way too frustrated trying to do that. So I'll definitely, you know, check them out, and see what the characters are like, see what the levels are like, see how it plays.